I'm Stephanie Oden. Welcome to the Quiet Impact Podcast. And this is where we nurture, inspire, equip, ignite, and empower introvert leaders and business owners just like you who are making waves quietly and with impact. And I am thrilled to be able to bring to you another one of our Spotlight Achiever guest interviews. I like to bring people in front of you that will help you move to the next level of success, whether it's building your leadership skills, embracing who you are as you move to the next level, and growing as a business owner and entrepreneur. I know when my guests come on, I lean in too. I continue to learn from the people that I put in front of you. So let's dig in, shall we? Welcome to the Quiet Impact Podcast, where we nurture the journey of introverts who desire to achieve greater levels of influence, income, and impact. The go-to podcast for introvert achievers just like you, seeking purpose-driven growth. I am your host, Stephanie Oden. Welcome to the Quiet Impact Podcast, and I am your host, Stephanie Oden. We're not shy, timid, or needing to be fixed. We are an introvert, and that is our superpower. Introverted AFF, absolutely fabulous and feisty. And I have with me today another one of my Spotlight Achiever guests, and I'm going to share more about her. But first, I just want to give her opportunity to say hello to you today.
Hello, everybody. What a wonderful privilege it is to be with you today.
This is my dear friend, guest, Debbie Clason with Clason Communications. And before I read the technical stuff, I want to tell you, this is someone that I have admired for over 20 years. When I first started out in business and I had a wellness company, and what I like most about her is she never questioned the validity of my vision. She accepted the vision and ran with it. When I was doing something nobody else was doing. And that just speaks to the type of person she is, her creative nature, and she's just continued to bless me. I've learned so much about marketing, presence, and just showing up and adversity and starting over and resilience from her. And that's why I'm really glad to have her on here. And you're going to need a pen and paper, so get it out because she's going to drop nuggets. She always drops nuggets. Actually, we both drop nuggets when we're together. So you might want to lean in. So here's some things about Debbie. She's the owner of Clason Communications, has over 40 years experience as a journalist, a corporate marketing director, and public relations professional. And she was doing printed magazines of her own publishing when it wasn't even popular and nobody else knew what the heck they were doing. Like she was doing the whole thing. It was Bylines Communications. I remember that. Her freelance work has appeared in Family Life magazine, Sports Illustrated, The Lutheran Witness, Massage Magazine, Weightlifting USA, and Hard Hat Rental Source. She's a graduate of Indiana University, who has a winning football record right now, by the way. I know maybe not when you watch this, but hey, we're claiming the moment. And she has degrees in journalism and education. She currently owns Clason Communications, which is located in Fountain Hills, Arizona. Mm-hmm. And Debbie, tell my guests some things that are outside of what I mentioned in your bio.
Well, I have 3 great kids. They're now adults. I tell everybody I won the kid lottery. So they're all amazing. Just went on a 2-week vacation with my daughters to Spain and Portugal.
What? Oh, I'm low-key jealous. We'll talk more about that offline. Sorry, people, but we're going to talk more about that offline. I'm practicing Portuguese because I will go to Portugal. So we're going to talk more about that. Okay. Sorry for interrupting. Continue.
Okay. It's one of those things where when your kids are little, you're the teacher. And if you're smart, when they grow up, they become the teacher and you listen. So I've been in that transition phase for a minute. Some parents don't ever get there, and they're missing out because my girls planned this entire thing. I mean, planes, trains, automobiles, Airbnbs, hotels. We were jet setting, my gosh. And I was my head was on a swivel. I learned so much being with them. It was priceless. So anyway, but I digress. What else? Let's see. I love to hike. I'm a big environmentalist. I tell everybody that I go to the Grand Canyon about once a year, and I tell everybody it's my canyon, but I will share it with you. You may attend my canyon. So my heart was a little bit broken this year, and when everything happened at the North Rim, we actually had a hiking trip planned that next week, which obviously didn't happen. And I'm a big advocate for philanthropy. I'm very, very active in my community, serve on many different boards, hold off a couple of different boards, just because of capacity issues. But the philanthropy part, and just using the talents that I have to bless others.
And
How's that?
You talked about the girls, and then you have a son.
Yes. He's my oldest. He would have gone with us, but he just got married, and they're planning a honeymoon. And so, what you going to do? Say, no, you got to go with mommy. And
your sister, like, that just doesn't work. It just does not work. And
yes.
you do have a big heart for philanthropy. And one of the things that I like about what you do is you raise up their level of excellence. Like when they come to you, they have they're keeping themselves really small, but by the time you speak into them and bring their vision to life, they're able to see themselves as bigger and able to do more. And that's just one of the things that I've seen out of the work that you have done with the organizations that you've helped.
Thank you. I was just going to say, I like to think of myself as a storyteller. So, it's not my story, right? When I'm working for somebody else, it's their story. And you're very good at that, pulling out people's, like when we worked together, you were very good about saying, now I know you and X, Y, and Z is true. And I would be like, oh yeah. But I like to think that's what I do for other people, right? What's your story? Let's tell your story. Let's help so you can find your people. You need to find your people.
You have to find your people. We want you to find your people because there's so much power in finding your people.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of the fear and doubts and all of those things go away when you find your people. It's right. Sometimes my coaching clients can't grasp it until they grasp it, and they come back later and say, I see what you mean about finding my people. Like I'm not nervous, or especially working with introverts. Once you find your people, you have your place, you blossom like a sunflower that opens up to the sun.
Absolutely.
Now, how do you help your clients?
Well, again, I always say back to the storytelling.
Okay.
And the journalist in me, I think this comes from the journalist in me. I ask a lot of questions. And it's all to find out who are you? And then, make them do a little homework. Who are you? What is your product and service, and who do you serve?
Yeah.
And then where do they hang out? If I had a nickel for everybody who came to me and said, I got to be on Facebook, I'd be a rich woman. I don't know. This would be a completely different conversation. And I always say to them, why do you need to be on Facebook? Is that where your people are?
Exactly.
And in this town, Fountain Hills, Arizona, you will find as many people on social media as are not on social media. So if you're not on social media, where do you get your information? And that's one of the big areas I feel like I help my clients is let's find out where your people hang out. And then, we can design promotional materials to get their attention and bring them to you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And what you shared is really beneficial to any entrepreneur in business is where do your people hang out? Because there's a stereotype that you have to be on social media. That's a
Yeah,
stereotype.
not true.
If your people aren't there, why go there? Like
Why go there?
you don't have to go there. And I think it's so important. I'm glad you brought that out because you don't have to. There's
Mhm.
no what is it? Social media monitor gonna come around and say your business is not on Facebook, therefore you're not a legal business.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, get a website that works for you 24/7, 365. Absolutely have a website. But you don't need to be on social media if that's not where your people are.
Right. Now, if you are, it's a whole different if your people are there, it's a whole different conversation, right?
Mm.
Finding ways to be present and be where they are and speak to them to draw them to you. So
Right.
that's really good that you're having that conversation with them.
Hmm.
Is it mostly, I know you do a lot with philanthropic organizations, but do you also help other business types as well?
Yeah, wide range, I would say. Business owners, philanthropic organizations, governmental agencies. I do a lot for the town of
Mm.
Fountain Hills. So, just as an independent contractor, I just finished, you'd be very proud of me, because I just finished a video series for the town. I did it all the video taping, all the interviews, all the editing, all the writing, and I was on camera. I was the
What?
video host. I was
Okay, for my listeners, okay, let me frame this. You're sitting at our coffee table. This is how we would talk. You literally are sitting here with us in our conversation. This is the one when we had an opportunity to work together. Amazing behind the camera. Would not get in front of the camera for anything. And what a growth moment. That is huge. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. That is so good.
it's just so funny because I'm always telling people, oh, relax. We're just going to have a conversation. You'll be fine. You look great. And then for me to have to turn the camera on myself, it was like, I had to do all of that self talk, to myself.
Yourself in rapid fire. Relax. You're fine. Breathe. Exhale. Relax. You're fine. Breathe. Exhale. Okay, show up. Smile. Am I smiling? What do I look like? Do I have anything in my teeth? Like all of those. That is
All of it.
so good. And I think that helps you though. Having that experience is going to even expand your ability to be empathetic with your business owners who are petrified about getting on camera.
Mhm.
We pick up energy. Like it's different if somebody hadn't ever been there to say, relax, you'll be fine. It sounds condescending. But if you've been where they are, like I can feel that. Oh, you really have been where I am. Okay, I think I can relax now.
My biggest compliment is when whomever I'm video interviewing at the time says to me, well, that was fun at the end of it, you know? Because, for me, I'm just like, I'm going to ask a few stupid questions in the beginning just to get them a little bit more comfortable talking. And I always stand off camera and have them look at me off camera, not at the camera, because that for some reason just kind of freaks you out. But yeah, so I knew you'd be proud of me.
I am because that is huge. And it's also a testament to your ability to keep putting yourself out there. Like you keep testing the limits of what you're able to do. And so many, I know it's not popular because a lot of people say get out of your comfort zone. Like I hear that. I've even said that to clients before. But what I have learned and has worked so much better is expand your comfort zone.
Hmm.
Don't go from I'm comfortable to oh crap, but go from I'm comfortable to I wonder if I could, kind of in that growth zone. and just keep stretching that a little bit.
100%. That's such great advice. And one of my favorite quotes is, and I can't remember who said it, a mind once stretched never returns to its original shape.
Absolutely.
So once you just do that, just a little bit, just push your boundary a little bit, then you're like, I can do that.
I can do
Wonder what
that.
else I can do.
That's it right there. I can do that. What else can I do? I wonder what else I can do. And we're
Yeah.
naturally curious anyway. I wonder what else I could do. Oh, it hasn't
Mhm.
been done before, but maybe what else could I
Yeah.
do? What are some key moments that you can share with us that have led you to where you are right now?
Oh, I mean, there are so many.
Mhm.
You and I grew up together in business. We really did. And there was a point in time in our hometown, I owned my own little marketing business, little communications business. And then I went into corporate, and then I decided to sell it and go into corporate America, and did that for a while, learned a lot. But so most recently, my job was eliminated.
Hmm.
And that was 2019 maybe. And so I think that was the big thing, right? It was, now what do I do?
Mhm.
Do I continue in corporate America, or is this a pivotal moment? You know, do I go back into work for myself, And that's what I chose to do. And it was so frightening and so exhilarating at the same time.
Mhm.
It was crazy. And then by that time, of course, the technology had changed dramatically from when you and I were just cutting our teeth on stuff we were doing back in the day. I mean, here's how old I am. When I used to, before color printers, I was doing stuff. And that's when my kids were little. I would print out brochures. Probably a couple for you, my dear. And then I'd take the kids' coloring pencils and crayons, and I'd color in the colors that I was going to tell the printer to use. Lordy, look where
Wow.
we are now. It's
I
so crazy.
know. It
Yeah,
is. It
it's
is.
just amazing. And so, learning all of that, what occurred. But so by that time, my kids were all older. They
Mhm.
were adult. They were in the workplace. My son works in tech. And so he was like, Mom, this is what you need to know. And I just kind of went back to school, seriously, to learn for myself how to build, not just how to build a business, but how to use all the wonderful new technology that's available to us now. And that was at the time when Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, he was saying, give stuff away for free, give stuff
Mhm.
away for free. You've got, you can afford to give stuff away for free. And people were
Mhm.
free apps,
Mhm.
free advice, free,
Mhm.
you could go back to school for nothing
For nothing.
if you just were willing to commit the time and energy.
And I think that's part of that journey of evolution of entrepreneurship is not necessarily adopting every fly by night thing, but being wise to know, okay, what is the gap in my business that I need to fill? And in some ways, you actually attract that in. I know it sounds hokey, but when you really are clear on what we need, it comes and it fills that gap. That's what I've seen in my
Yeah.
journey.
And you can't be afraid to ask.
And you can't be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done to ask because asking can be scary at times.
100%. Yes, ma'am.
So, I like to keep it real. I'm like, yeah, it's easy to say, well, just ask. Well, that's scary when you're starting out in business. At the same time, that's when you surround yourself with good people who,
Yes.
when you're shrinking or attempting to shrink, they will call you out on it lovingly and say, excuse me, ma'am.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't work for me. So you need to get it together and just
Yes, Miss Stephanie. That's exactly what you do.
and make it happen. None of that. We'll have none of that. One of the things that I talk and I am introvert, and I say that not as an excuse. That is part of my journey and how I've evolved. Is like I'm an introvert baddie, which means you can't say that I'm an introvert and I'm gonna play small. That just does not compute to me. That means you just need to figure out who you serve even more so you can show up.
Right.
How has being an introvert helped you as an entrepreneur?
You know, but that's a really good question because I think for a long time, I think I've always been an introvert, but but people don't see me as one. They think I'm an extrovert,
Mhm.
and it doesn't do any good to argue with them.
I know.
You know, so it's at some point, I don't even know when it was like, no, I really am an introvert. I'm more comfortable here. I'm okay with that. That's okay. And it really helped me step back and hone my listening skills, honestly, because it gave me permission to be quiet, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
It does. That makes sense. Yeah. Absolutely makes sense. And I agree with you. It doesn't do any good. I still have people tell me, "Oh, you're not an introvert," or you're getting out of you're becoming less and less of an introvert. I mean, they'll say things like that because they don't know any better. And I just okay, I just agree with their assessment because
Mhm.
that's what they know and that's okay. I know for me, part of being that introvert and coming to grips with it was a lot of stereotypes were placed on the if you're an introvert, then you're shy, then you're timid, then you're less than. There was so much of that in corporate America when I was coming up. Well, you're doing great, Stephanie, but can you be a little bit more outgoing? You know, but my team is doing great. I'm getting the results. What up with this? And you know, similar to you, when I decided and I own how I'm wired, it's a whole different show up. I don't know if that's been your case, but once I owned it, it was like, okay, well, I'm showing up. This is how I'm showing up. How has that been for you?
I think that's really accurate because, um, and the reason was stopped, because I stopped worrying
Mm,
about what people were thinking when they were looking at me. Because I
mm,
knew, they would say, oh, this or that or whatever. And so I always just assumed that anytime I walked into the room, that was, all the little bubbles I could imagine coming from people's heads. And I'm like, you, there's another saying, what people think of you is none of your
it's
business.
none of my business.
Yeah, so I kind of adopted that and just focused in on what I was there to do. And
Mhm.
I think once you focus on that and give that your full attention, then that's when you shine because then people can see who you really are.
Right.
And probably I would say, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but 95% of what you think other people are thinking about you is not even real.
Well,
It's not real.
no,
It, they're not thinking that. You're
they're not
making that
thinking
up
that.
in your
They probably not even thinking about you. The
100%.
thing,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Probably not even thinking about you at all
At
in
all.
most of the cases. And so
Yeah.
that's a big takeaway too, is yeah, we've heard those, but here's another reminder that it is not your business what they think about you, and chances are they're not thinking about you anyway.
Hmm.
They're too busy thinking about their own things that they have going on.
Stuff they got going on. That's right. And everybody's got stuff.
Everybody's got stuff. And if you don't have stuff, I don't know. You must be like not
You're,
here
you're
because
lying to me.
you're lying. You're absolutely lying because everybody has stuff. And I think realizing that helps, has helped me to be more authentic when I talk to people.
Hmm.
Because yeah, even though you act like you don't have stuff, buddy, you have stuff.
Hmm.
So it allows me to be more empathetic and to, being able to work with different groups of people. And
Right.
being an introvert allows me to listen. I can listen better. I don't always have, and I'm okay not having to talk, right?
Yes.
That that's giving ourselves permission, right?
Yes. That's huge. Being okay not talking thing. I that was probably one of the first things I lost. It's like I don't have to speak up in this meeting.
Wow. What? You don't have to speak up? You don't have to make a comment that is non-value added just to say you
What?
spoke up and get in the minutes? Like, what?
Yeah, what a concept, right?
What a concept. What a concept. And at the same time, I don't know about you, but once I've trained people as to how I am, they would look to me for not the first comment, because they know I'm not going to usually be the first comment unless it's something that I'm really, really passionate about. But they would look to either my comment or my facial expressions later on to get the real pulse of what's going on. I don't know if that happens to you.
Yeah, they'll say, well, or they'll say, what do you think, Debbie? We haven't heard from you yet. And then I can either say, well, I think you've covered it all. I don't really have anything to add, which
Mhm.
is perfectly fine. Or, one thing we might consider is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that comes in knowing who we are and knowing that we have value and we add value, that we don't have to showboat to make up a value, because
right.
you know what, I'm perfectly okay not having anything to say because there's nothing to say. And here's what I do have to say when I have something to say. I think that is a little bit of our sass, a little bit of our superpower, uh,
Yeah.
that we've grown into uh, after
Mhm.
years of suppression. Um, I think that's something we've grown into. And you talked a little bit about this too, like some of the challenges. But is there some other challenges that you've had to overcome, and maybe some lessons that you've learned that have really stuck with you out of those?
I'm, I think more than anything today, I trust my gut. Earlier in my career, I would have had it. I wasn't able to listen. I think the quieter you are, the more you really hear,
Ooh.
what's going on and inside. And so, and if it's something I need more clarification on, then I get, uh, you know, then I know to explore it a little bit further.
I know one of the things when we had conversations, which you absolutely are this, you've been this for 40 years. I don't, it's one of your amazing, brilliant strengths. I know you guys think I really do love her, because I do. I mean, that's coming out here. But you have always been a disruptor.
Oh, true. Being a disruptor.
You have always, before I really stepped into being this introvert that's um out there, like really stepping into being an introvert, we just vibed. And that was one of the things that drew me to you, because you're an industry disruptor. I know in a lot of ways I was doing things that nobody in our hometown had ever heard of. And it was like, you have like three heads, like seriously. But you're like, okay, I get that. Let's go. I don't know all the things that you know, but I trust you and we're gonna go and we're gonna make it and we're gonna do it. That's something that I feel like you are you can't help it. I feel like that's how you're wired.
No, and I've stopped apologizing for it too.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yes.
okay if you don't like that. It's okay. And mainly, who that comes from are your competitors. They're it is what it is. That everybody's a little bit territorial, and that's okay. But I offer things to my clients that you don't, and you offer things to my clients that I don't. So, let's find a way to work together, but let's not play small, either one of us.
That's good.
Mm.
That's growth. That's leadership. That's thought leadership. That's industry leadership. When you're not allowing your competitors to play small.
What is it at the end of the day? You want to take care of your customer.
You want to take care of your customers. At the end of the day, you
Mhm.
both want that for them.
Yeah.
That that's good, Debbie. I don't know if people are picking that up because a lot of times we can be in similar industries. Like I know other coaches, I know other people that do online marketing. I know other people that offer some similar products that I offer. But at the end of the day, it's enough people that need to be served
Hmm. Absolutely.
that we will not run out of people to take care of and to serve and to elevate. We just won't.
Enough business for all of us.
There is enough business for all of us.
Hmm.
And more business is coming every day. It's
Yeah.
not shrinking except in our mind. And then if it shrinks in our mind, then it is going to be small. But if we expand it in our mind, it's limitless. Absolutely.
Hmm. Hmm.
That is good. Tell me or tell our audience three big things you want to share with them.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the things that I made a note of. One of the first one was trust your gut.
Yes. Yes.
If it doesn't smell right, it might not be right, and that's okay. Take a step back and don't have to proceed until you're comfortable. Trying to remember what else, Stephanie. Oh my gosh, what else did I?
You're a big give back person. That's one of the things that I've known about you for years.
Yeah, you're right.
To
With that whole philanthropy angle, make sure you
you
share.
make sure you share. And I know one of the things that we worked on is make sure you share and that your value is known. I know a lot of entrepreneurs get in trouble because we have big bleeding hearts and we want to give from our cup, not even being full, because we just want to help them. The biggest way we can help them is finding that balance between offering what they need, but at the same time, it is okay that they pay you. So I think
Yes.
that's one of those lessons that a lot of entrepreneurs need to grasp.
I agree. You can get upside down on that really fast,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially when you just really everything interests you. Like
Ah,
I live in a town where we just are known to be volunteers, and it's a small town, and everybody's always working for on behalf of an organization or something, and you can get upside down really fast, but do share, um, and is to the best of your ability. And I would say know your worth, obviously,
okay.
is what you said, that and don't be afraid to charge what you're worth, because, and my son taught me this. I actually had a customer who came back and said, i I can't accept this bid from you because you're underselling yourself.
Wow.
And, I really respected her for that. But then I went to my son and said, what do I do? And he said, 3X it. And I'm like, I can't do that. And he said, yes, you can. Mom, you're worth that.
Mhm.
And the minute I did, she didn't even blink,
Mhm.
which immediately elevated my price point from that point forward. Now, not everybody's going to be able to afford you, and that's okay too.
Right.
You get to work quality, not quantity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know when we worked together, we shared some of those things. I'm like, no, let's, we did some numbers and had some really good discussions, deep discussions on that whole pricing thing. I'm like, yeah, you can. Sure you can.
I
Again,
remember.
it's easier said than done when your heart really wants to serve. But knowing that if our cup is empty, we can't give them from the overflow. Like we can't serve them from an overflow of good stuff because we got sludge in our cup. So when we're feeding them, when we're pouring into them from a sludge, they're
I'm
not
true.
going to get the best of us. And
I,
so I don't
I think a lot of that for me, and this, came from originally came from a place of I had kind of had imposter syndrome, and I can remember when it hit me, like, oh my gosh, this thing's gonna take off. I called you immediately from my kitchen. I can remember where I was standing in a panic and said, ah, you've got to help me, and you did. Very much so. But you've got to get past that. You've got to know your worth. And
exactly.
then too, I think the other thing is make sure you set your boundaries. I think setting boundaries is a huge thing. You don't have to answer the text from that customer at 7 p.m. on Sunday night. You don't.
You
They're
don't.
probably not expecting you to, number one. And number two, Monday, you can do it during, on Monday. I mean, you are entitled to have time to yourself, quality time to yourself, and you should take it because it really gives you perspective. I mean, 2 weeks in Spain and Portugal without a computer. I didn't have my computer. I didn't have my files. I was just, oh my gosh, I came back with, all right, now I could conquer the world.
That's so good, and I'm glad you brought that up. Is so important to set the boundaries, respect the boundaries, and realize also we train people on how to treat us. And if we're answering the phone at 7 o'clock on Sunday, they're gonna you're gonna guarantee you're gonna get more phone calls at 7 o'clock on Sunday, and then 8 o'clock on Sunday, and then 9 o'clock. Right before they go to bed, they're gonna send you a message. If you set that standard and have those boundaries, I see people would respect them. When we set them and we don't waffle, I think people respect that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, I mean, they're just operating on their schedule. And so, if you respond on their schedule, they don't know that they've crossed a boundary line unless you just don't answer that. And then the next day you can say, I don't have my phone on Sunday nights. That's family time for me.
Yes,
And,
that's huge. That's
yeah.
huge. A lot of
So how can I help you
entrepreneurs,
today during
a lot of
normal work?
entrepreneurs need that. A lot of leaders need that because of
Yes.
that's a whole other dynamic. Not only do I serve my entrepreneurs, but my leaders, it, it, it's expected that they will do all these things and it's detrimental to their health. And you can set that boundary. You really can
Mhm.
set that boundary and people will respect that boundary if you set it and you stand by
Mhm. And if they don't, then you got to learn how to fire a customer.
it. Absolutely, and be okay.
Uh-huh.
It's okay.
Say, I don't
We're
think this
not
is working for either one of us. Yeah.
this isn't working for either one of us. I'm not a good fit for you. It's okay.
Hmm.
Wow, this has been so good, so good. So, what is the best way for the listeners to reach out to you?
Probably through my website,
Okay.
clasoncommunications.com, I would say.
And I'll have that in the show notes. Debbie, thank you so much again for being in my circle. You're one of those people that I feel like is in my inner circle that's known me for a long time, and I know that I can reach out to you and we can have chats and you'll give me honest, right? You won't
Hmm.
you won't hold back. and I appreciate the years of service. So thank you
Well,
so much.
it's been my pleasure, my friend. So thank you for, for the privilege of having this chat.
Thank you all for joining us today, and make sure that you like and subscribe. And if you know someone that needs to hear this message of like encouragement and just keep goingness, I make up words. Make sure you share that with them. And that's it. Take care. That's it for this episode of the Quiet Impact Podcast. Thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Let me know any insights that you had from this episode. I would love to hear your takeaways. Remember to head to my website, grab a copy of the Success Pillars for Quiet Achievers. It's a resource I created for you. And join us next week. Thank you for watching, listening, and subscribing. See you next time.